Farm business is big business in this area, very big. In fact, farming has brought more than $500 million of income in the last 2 decades to just 3 counties locally, Tippecanoe, Benton, and White.
But is it money well spent? Over the next 2 nights in a special series called Harvesting a Profit, News 18's Dan Klein investigates the impact of farm subsidies on the area and how a new farm bill could change the game for both farmers and taxpayers. Dan.
Well, Gina, Jeff, farmers nationwide have collected record-breaking profits in the last couple of years. While much is due to high prices, subsidies certainly don't hurt either. If you listen closely, you can hear it. To a farmer, it sounds like this. Golden ears of corn turning into piles of gold, 1 acre at a time. The reward after months of work. But the harvested crop isn't the only payoff. The last 18 harvests have brought in more than $604 million in subsidies to Benton, Tippecanoe, and White County farmers.
Oh, we've got it now.
You just want to load me at the corner then?
Number 4 on the list is Vandercleed Farms, owned by Kurt Vandercleed.
I'm 55. I've farmed my whole life.
Vandercleed farms about 2,000 acres of corn and soybeans around West Point. He's collected more than $1.5 million in subsidies since 1995. Most years, subsidies bring in about $45,000 in income. But on 5 occasions, usually when prices are bad, he's collected more than $100 grand in a single year.
I prefer not to take anything from the government, but I think that it's something that it's just part of the way you do business.
According to USDA data compiled by the advocacy group Environmental Working Group, 32 farmers have collected more than $1 million in subsidy payments for their operations in just those 3 counties since 1995. Topped by Suter Farms Partnership at $3.1 million, it's a group that also includes a partnership partially owned by District 25 Representative Don Leahy. But that doesn't account for farmers who have interests in multiple partnerships. For example, number 28 is W.J. Brost Farms Incorporated, owned by Bill Brost, a recipient of $1.03 million. But Brost is a part of 4 businesses whose 9 listed subsidies total nearly $2.2 million, which would put it at number 2. The 6th highest recipient is Purdue University at $1.5 million since '95. With 3,500 acres in Tippecanoe County, it's the site of hundreds of student and faculty projects, as well as crops to feed livestock on the Animal Sciences Farm.
For us, it's a pot of money that is useful to help directly support research. The goal for us is to have a crop to meet expenses.
Farmers seem to have no trouble meeting expenses these days. According to the USDA, income for producers nationwide before expenses has risen more than $131 billion in just 4 years.
The last 5 years have been pretty good to farmers. Before that, it was mostly a break-even proposition.
Expenses have risen as well, $71 billion in 4 years. Still, at the same time as the median household income in the U.S. has fallen about $2,000 since 2009 to $51,000, farmers' net income after expenses has doubled in just 4 years, from $60 billion in 2009 to an estimated $120 billion this year. And the subsidy checks keep rolling in as well.
Oh, it's nice to have it, but it doesn't mean a lot right now. But now if you get back to break even, then it becomes a little more important.
Vandercleed isn't as passionate about subsidies as you may think, in part because he feels like much of the extra cash is gobbled up by others. Also, with 2,000 acres of land, he figures his annual expenses at $1.8 million. In other words, $200,000 more than all the combined subsidies he's received in the last 18 years.
Well, some years it used to be the only money you made was the farm subsidy. But I think if they took it away from all of us, that costs would adjust themselves down.
But winds of change appear to be blowing on the current subsidy system, changes that will be explored in part 2 of Harvesting a Profit. I tried reaching each of the top 10 subsidy recipients on the list. Kurt Vandercleed and Purdue University were the only 2 who agreed to meet. 207 farmers or entities in Benton, Tippecanoe, and White counties have received more than $500,000 in subsidies since 1995. 1,200 have gotten more than $100 grand. Right now on WLFI.com, we have a searchable database of them and the rest of the 7,000 people in this area who have received a subsidy check. Tomorrow night on Harvesting a Profit, I'll take a look at those winds of change and why changing the system could cost taxpayers even more money.